Wow guys, Jujutsu Kaisen Chapter 178 is out and this was crazy. We are about to embark on a 3-domain expansion battle, which is something that has never happened before in the series. Another thing that has never happened before is you subscribing to the channel with notification bells on and leaving a like on the video if you want to see more Jujutsu Kaisen content on the channel. And I felt like this was the perfect chapter to come back to do more JJK content because this chapter was so hype and it's a lot to talk about. The chapter begins picking up where we left off with Yuta calling out to Rika to summon her in his location. And we see her in her full manifested form, and I was so excited when I saw this because we knew that we were going to see an awesome battle with Rika and Yuta together versus Ishiguro and Takako. Because these past few chapters since we saw Yuta fighting, he has not used her, he refrained from using her, but now that he's at his lowest level of cursed energy, he had no choice. This is why upon summoning full form Rika, Ishiguro noticed that Yuta's cursed energy is spiking up again. And while this is going on, in Takako's mind, she realizes that Yuta has not shown his full power yet. And what we saw in this chapter that transpired, that was definitely the case. We then see Rika ask Yuta what cursed tool that he wants to use, because this is something that even the old Rika had the ability to copy cursed technique and cursed tools as well. Because I know a lot of people were confused by this new Rika because we saw in JJK 0 that the old Rika died. However, this new Rika is Yuta's actual cursed technique and also stores cursed energy for him. It's explained that even after the real Rika passed away, this Rika still remained with Yuta. So think of it like even though Rika passed away, she left the power supply that she had for Yuta. So in a way, you can look at this new Rika as a Shikigami, but on steroids, because it gets worse from this as far as the description of the power that was left. It further explains while Yuta is connected to Rika through his ring, he's able to use the curse techniques, Rika's complete manifestation, and curse energy supply from Rika. Even though Yuta is completely strong on his own, like so overpowered, he gets more overpowered with the added addition using the ring to manifest Rika with the added addition power that comes along with it. However, despite how strong he is when he summons Rika and with the added additions of curse energy and curse technique, this only lasts for 5 minutes. So there are pros and cons on using the ring to summon Rika because this can only last for 5 minutes. However, this is something that Yuta will only use if he is low on energy. But at the same time, this is the same guy who has more cursed energy than Gojo. The only problem is that Gojo does not run out of cursed energy because of his 6 size. So Yuta with the ring or without the ring, he is still a problem. We then see the curse tool that he grabs out is this curse tool that's around his arm, which I guess it gives him more strength. We didn't see a description of this curse tool's ability in this chapter, but I think it's pretty simple to assume that this curse tool is around his arm is probably a curse tool amplifier for physical attacks. We then see Rika jump to Takako, and Takako, she backs away saying, "Don't mess with me." While attempting to use her sky warping technique, Yuta then uses her speech saying, "Don't move," which immobilizes her from moving, which is the same curse technique we saw him perform before in Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 0, which is the curse technique and ability that he copied from Inamaki. A very effective ability because once we saw Yuta perform that in this chapter, Takako started getting barrages of punches from Yuta with the curse tool around his arms and Rika. And honestly, I was surprised that she could still move after this attack because man, those were some devastating blows from Rika and Yuta. After that, Rika then sets her targets on Ishiguro, who sends off a cursed energy beam. However, Rika was able to stop it with her hand. The same thing that Yuta did against that attack when he blocked it with his hand. However, even though Yuta and Rika responded and reacted to this attack the same way, Ishiguro in his mind implied that she might be tougher than Yuta. Now, even though Rika said that attack hurt, she got really pissed after that and sent a flying punch to Ishiguro. But I was extremely surprised that Ishiguro was able to send one of his own to Rika that sent her flying to another building, and it just lets you know that these old school Jujutsu sorcerers are just built different. And Ishiguro, a man who loves to fight, is definitely top tier when it comes to physical strength. Not the strongest, but he's up there. But I guess this is the beauty of the Cooling Games because we're going to see so many strong, powerful Jujutsu sorcerers from modern times and even old school times and ancient times way back like Sukuna. While Yuta is summoning these small, bat-looking clones of Rika, Takako starts using her sky warping technique, screaming out, "You Fujiwara are always in my way," but we know that Yuta is not part of that clan. because his ancestors come from the Sugawara. But we have seen in these past few chapters that Takako has a strong beef with the Fujiwara clan members, and we start to understand why in this chapter. She goes on to say, "Are you afraid of me becoming somebody?" And we really go in depth in this chapter on the reasoning of why she has so much guilt and regret in her past life, because she used to be a part of an assassin group that worked under the Fujiwara that devoted their lives day and night doing the dirty work for the Fujiwara. Takako explains, "Yet that person gave me a name to execute me as a proxy for the person's crime of killing a member of that same clan." So what I'm taking from this is that Takako has a beef because the person from this Fujiwara clan assigned her for a mission to kill someone within that same clan. Things happened which led to her being the scapegoat so this person would not get caught. So I understand her grief about this situation, her pain and anger, because this is messed up on so many levels, especially her being an assassin group that was hired by the Fujiwara that devoted their lives to do everything they asked just to get executed by doing what they were told. Who wouldn't be pissed off about that, honestly? So I understand why she lives in regret. And being in the calling games is almost like this is a second chance of life, but also letting off that frustration that she had when she passed. Yuta then goes in for an attack by using Drew's curse technique. And Takako, she starts to notice that Yuta's curse technique is actually copied, which is no surprise because we finally get the name for it, but we saw that Yuta had this ability since JJK Volume 0, and we know that he's able to copy and mimic other people's curse techniques and moves. As this battle continues on, with Rika's battle happening in the background, Yuta tells Takako, "I don't know what my ancestors did to you, but living for yourself only gets you so far." Now, even though Takako disagreed with this, saying that the only people that say these things are the people that achieve something, Yuta can relate to being lonely and only living for himself, because we saw these things take place in Volume 0, being bullied, not fitting in. The entire Rika situation, it forces him to be in a position where he had to live for himself before meeting Gojo. So he can relate to Takako's pain even though they live different lives. However, at this point, words meant nothing because Ishigori did not want to hear anything else. His curse energy starts to spark, and the chapter ends off with him using his domain expansion alongside with Takako and Yuta. So we're getting a three-way domain expansion, and I was so hyped when this happened because we have never seen 3 domain expansions happen at the exact same time in a fight. We saw 2, and we know what happens when one uses a domain expansion and the other uses domain expansion. The stronger one will take over, but we never saw all 3 happening at the same time. So this might cause a huge collision course of domain expansions just clashing with one another. And Yuta would be the first student we would see with a complete domain expansion. Because we know that Megami can use domain expansion as well, and he has got stronger with it, but he has not fully mastered this technique. It's not in a complete state. So I am extremely excited to see what's going to happen in the next chapter. Hopefully we get to see the full display of Yuta's domain expansion. You guys comment below and tell me what you think about this chapter. Also, leave a like on the video, subscribe if you are new. Check out my other anime and manga content. You guys have an awesome life. Take care of yourselves, stay blessed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.